It all started 2 short years ago. Preston Plays released a video where he broke a bunch of YouTubers' records. Yeah, Jaren saw this video a year later, realized his clickbait potential, and like any good YouTuber, farmed it for views. But only the Preston Plays video is plot relevant here, because the exactly 1700 seconds into the video, one of Preston's gang members attempted the record for most mobs bred in 30 seconds. I'll spare you the pain of watching the video yourself. You'll thank me later. And tell you that he got a meager 41 pigs. Yeah, Jaren posted a short 3 days after he debunked Preston's channel where he broke that record and set it to be a humble 57 soon-to-be orphans. Welcome to Nevada. Now when I look at that, even I say that's baby in numbers, pun fully intended. Enter Gerg. Are you kidding me? Enter Gerg. Casual redstoner, avid fog hater, and so unhinged even my garage door is scared of him. He bumped the record to 121 piglets. The trail ran cold for a few months, but less than 2 weeks ago, competition once again started up. Enter Cosmic Boot. Cosmetic Boot? Yep, screw it. Space Shoe. He made a video where he looked at Gerg's record and basically screamed, "Hacks!" So yeah, those two are fighting for the record now. Currently it's in Space Shoe's hands at a solid 187 piglets, rivaling even Africa's crude birth rate. I ran the maths and found out there's a hard cap to how many pigs you can breed. Minecraft runs at 20 ticks per second, and with some minor exceptions, that's how fast you can play the game. That means you can only feed 20 pigs per second, creating 10 piglets per second, meaning the maximum for this record is 300 piglets. And I'm going to get that before anyone else. And Gerg already got it. So Gerg got the record by using a piston bolt to click the maximum amount of pigs each second. Now I could point fingers, overanalyze this footage, say the record was invalid, and then breed the 300 pigs myself, but that makes a pretty lame video. I was going to engage in war. The only way I could win would be to familiarize myself with all the needed tactics. As the greats before me, I turn to the ancient articles. He will win who prepared himself, waits to take the enemy unprepared. Sun Tzu, The Art of War. Space Shoe practically space showed himself to the door. Gerg made a whole-on dramatic ending to the war in his most recent video, and nobody on YouTube was attempting the record anymore. As far as everyone was concerned, the war was over. The perfect time to strike. Over the past 2 years, I've become very familiar with data packs, which means I have a decent understanding of much of Minecraft's inner workings. It's how I made an absolute joke of Mojang's community challenge. I know breaching the 300 pigs limit is possible. It's just a matter of methodology. My first instinct was to test the click rate. I would have to fully understand the limitations I had before I could break them. I managed to spawn roughly 1 million happy gas in 1 minute, and if you can't do math, that's slightly more than 20 spawns per second. But when it comes to interacting with the entity, that is still limited by the tick rate. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. Man knows himself greater than any other. I had no choice. To defeat the pigs, I would have to become the pigs. Okay, maybe you have a point. I found an exception. Interacting with separate entities is still tick limited, yes. That means that feeding 2 different pigs will be processed in 2 different ticks. Well, you can feed baby pigs a lot more than 20 carrots per second, meaning that multiple interactions on the same entity, that's all processed in the same tick. Now, for my purposes, this was mostly useless until I thought, what if I make this 1 pig think it's 2 pigs? In hindsight, this is actually a really dumb idea. I thought I could do some magic by manipulating the pig's UUID, making it think it was a completely separate pig, ignoring the fact that changing entity data is tick dependent. Even with commands, there's still 2 problems. Firstly, that is not 2 pigs. That is 1 pig committing identity fraud. Secondly, upon feeding a pig, there's still a 5-minute cooldown before you can feed the pig again. And even ignoring all of that, assuming the pig somehow performed mitosis and ignored the cooldown, it still takes roughly 2.5 seconds to actually make a child. No matter how I try to justify it, it would still be slower than just using a piston bolt. The opportunity of defeating the enemy is provided by the enemy himself. I had done it. I had tricked Gerg into giving me his own contingency plan. See, after Cosmic called Gerg out for using an auto-clicker, he swiftly retaliated by uploading a new video where he beat both Cosmic's record and his own cheated one. After that, Spaceship got the 187 world record, but even then, Gerg said he was holding back. So I thought to myself, why would he hold back on that? Now, Gerg is not a stupid person. Odds are he calculated the limit long before he even attempted the record. However, in order to properly win this war, there are factors he would have to keep in mind. Because unlike a standard war, anyone can participate in this one, including his own viewers. So odds are he had a contingency plan just in case someone hit the 300 pig limit before he did. I might be giving Gerg a little too much credit here, because while he's smart, he's not really that smart. He's pretty easily manipulated. I created a screenshot showing a very high animals bred statistic and then posted it to Gerg's Discord. It had two purposes, primarily to gather info, but just in case that failed, it had a secondary purpose of just ruining Gerg's day. The idea was that by posting a statistic 66 times larger than the world record, Gerg would be baffled and leak information. And like a fish, he bit the bait. Lazy loaded chunks are chunks just outside your simulation distance. They're processed in a less performance-heavy method, which means that things work there very differently. Most notably, all mob AI is completely disabled in lazy loaded chunks. This is also why dolphins tend to die if you're not 2 inches away from them. When you breed a mob, it gets put into love mode for 30 seconds. If during that time it meets a matching mob also in love mode, the two meet, and after around 2.5 seconds they create disappointment. Although an important thing to note here is that the animal's bred statistic only goes up when the child is made. My plan was to send the pigs into lazy chunks while they were in the process of breeding. The idea being that the breeding process would be paused while they were in lazy chunks, but then resumed when the player fully loaded them in. Of course, I'd have to find a method to reliably and repeatedly feed pigs and put them into lazy chunks. Let's be honest, throwing pigs into lazy chunks, that's a bit of a hack. The objectively best method to get the pig breeding world record would be to have everyone subscribe right now. By pressing that subscribe button, you increase my pig bred statistic by 1. So if we can get exactly 301 people to hit the subscribe button within 30 seconds, that would beat Gerg's record! I made a half-hearted attempt to abuse the Netherness reduced simulation distance. Moving the mobs outside the portal and into lazy chunks quickly proved to be very difficult, so I decided to shelve that strategy for the time being. Eventually, I remembered a machine designed by Unhappy Bean that was designed to send the player at speeds higher than Mach 3. In 1.21, Minecraft added the wind charge effect. If a mob dies under the effect, it would spawn a wind blast that pushed objects away faster than your failed YouTube career. The innovation abused this and another new potion effect to create an easily reusable elytra launcher capable of getting you 3,000 blocks away in seconds. Now this is how you play skee ball. Of course, the machine was designed for players, not pigs, so some modifications would have to be made. But first I had to test if it worked. Alright, and then we drop 2 pigs. Disintegrated. Alright, pig number 1. Pig number 2. Press the button. So long. Okay, they bred. Press the button. Are you kidding me? They did it instantly? What? Huh? Alright, here we go. Timing. Take 2. Here goes. Number 1. Number 2, press the button. That was like nothing! Back, go, 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 go. Okay, so the pigs are gone. They went through the wall! How? How do you do it? That would have been a little awkward. Why? And that launches them outside. That launches them to the simulation range. And if I load them in, then we get a pig. I try to make a good design that automatically brings in pigs, allows you to breed them, then shoots them to lazy land as a survival obtainable proof of concept. Now, I don't know if I'm bad at redstone or not, but trying to funnel just 1 pig out of an entire pool of them is incredibly difficult. Okay, my script here says I have to give you a tour of the initial design, so let me give you the breakdown. The pigs show up in this pool, which there'd normally be a lot more of them. You can turn off this water thing for when you're going to breed a bunch of pigs to kind of just prep the machine. Once the machine is detected, there's enough silverfish loaded into the barrel. It'll activate this torch tower, which will then enable this circuit right here. Basically what this circuit does is when a pig touches that string, it'll open and close these doors very briefly, allowing pigs to go through. The pigs will funnel down into this spot right here, which apparently they just walk up there, I don't know why. They funnel down into here, into that hole, which will be in the breeding chamber. Over here we'll just have the player sitting here with like holding down the right mouse button while holding a carrot. We'll have a carrot dispenser back here, constantly refilling them. The setup's also mirrored on the other side. Once both pigs are in place, The system will detect that, wait a few seconds, and then drop them into the barrel where they'll be shot out at Mach 20. However, if you haven't noticed yet, this design doesn't work. That's because this machine was cloned whilst I was in the middle of designing a new containment cell. I don't even want to tell you how many revisions I went through this, but I'll tell you right now, it took me 10 hours to try and figure this out, and I never did. I ended up giving up on this design completely, went for a different one. Schools, how do you do this? Teach me your ways! So I ended up opting for a design that doesn't have pigs just automatically filter into the system. Now, say what you will about me using spawn eggs to create the pigs, but look, if you really want this to be survival obtainable, just replace this with a pig pen and lure the pigs in yourself. I am not designing that. The way this machine works is actually a lot different. Now, we still have the electric cannon core. That part has remained pretty much unmodified from the original. Once there's enough silverfish for a shot loaded, this comparator allows a signal to go through, which will activate this line. First off, we have a pulse extender because the silverfish like to jump and we don't want to be accidentally spamming shots. What this does is, first off, it automatically just fires the cannon. I broke this line, but it automatically just fires the cannon. Shoots the pig to Mach 20. Then it starts reloading. The blast created from the shot actually presses buttons and levers. So I have a button Jimmy rigged right here that goes to this line, which spawns a new pig, dispenses a carrot to the player who'd be sitting here holding right click, and then you just be sitting here for a few hours whilst the machine runs. Alright, because I want to factor some actual skill into this run, I'll start the timer when I go on my death trek across the highway. This is the actual final design I used, and it fixed a few problems. First off, I noticed I kept running out of wind charge potion, so I had a couple more. Pretty much all the major changes were in the barrel. Now, first off, the ice. I think this was actually here in the previous design, but I never actually explained it. The ice is designed so that the pigs travel further without having to decrease elevation, because I found out that pigs on separate Y levels, especially when they got thrown into lazy loaded chunks, they have a bit of problems breeding. I also put vines back here. Now, vines actually prevent entity cramming. This is because whenever an entity is put in a climbable block, they completely just ignore all non-block collisions. I also install an ender pearl stasis chamber. Basically, I take this lever right here, I flick it, it teleports me, which automatically puts all the pigs in the lazy loaded chunks out of lazy loaded so they start breeding. And then it's just a matter of hoping we had enough pigs there. Got 'em. Let's go 9,000 seconds. I have no idea how long that actually is. What? Tick sprint stop. Tick sprint stop. How? What? It's already midnight. How many pigs are over here? What's my I did a whole 3 animals. As soon as I type unfreeze, I'm already holding right click. Okay. And F3T, 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 please, please. I wasn't even able to right click. What? 700. I don't want to be gaining any carrots during this. I want to be losing carrots as fast as I'm gaining them. I gained a carrot. I gained 2. What? Pasted entity. What? What is that supposed to mean? Bam. Alright. What hurts the most is this might actually not be enough. Tick rate, 500. Alright, and we're boosting the timer to 5 minutes, and we're gonna figure out how the heck we get a Nerf gun on our keyboard! The Nerf gun is currently pressing the Z key. It's just a matter of keeping the gun up right now. Random bamboo container. It works! My hands are off the keyboard and I'm still pressing the 2 key with a literal Nerf gun. So I went AFK, picked up the trash. So it's actually been closer to 15 minutes since I left. I'm taking a Nerf gun off my keyboard. Okay, so we've apparently increased the phantom pig count, and I'm gonna rebind. Okay, now we just flick the lever. Oh! Ha ha ha! Okay, no, bring them all closer together. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh! This'll be better getting on footage, right? Yeah. Depending on when the timer went off, we're going to have our record, although I have my bets on 578. For those of you who never passed second grade mathematics, I had nearly doubled the world record. There's an 80% chance Gerg tries to reclaim this record, so I personally invite him to. I invite him to try and claim this record out of my cold, dead hands. Because I need the clickbait of a multi-episode Pig War series. Give me views! You know what? I think I know the problem with this barrel. It's because this smoothbore keeps hitting the neighbor's dog.